One of the best parts about being a person oriented toward value add or a person who wants to actually help is that you get such a rewarding feeling in this job, in this position, and my role, my purpose gives me so many opportunities to help others. And I feel so humbled by it, as well as I just get a great helper's high from it. Today, we're going to talk about, or I want to explore with you a particular case where you may find yourself in, where I'm working with a person, and we'll talk about them a little later on, who found himself to be the sole heir of a property, and he was trying to explore. He wanted to explore his options regarding selling it, or what options did he have for the property. So that's what we're actually going to look at today, folks. I hope you are doing great. Courtney Rollins, as the intro stated, if you're listening on the podcast. If you're listening on YouTube, what's up? Courtney Rollins. I am the life and transitions experts uh, host, and this space is just dedicated for folks who are helping families through biggest transitions in their life. My focus is helping families deal with the house and the stuff if they're going through a probate process, or perhaps they're going through trying to find resources for their loved one to receive long-term care, and they're trying to figure out what to do with the house and stuff. So you may be surprised, though, that if you're going through the probate process, or you may be surprised to find that real property does not always have to go through the probate process in North Carolina. North Carolina state laws, succession laws, state that if once a person passes away and they leave behind um, real property, then if it's not dictated in the last will and testament, if they don't have a will and testament, well, let's follow if they do. If they have a will and testament, then you just follow what it states in there: who gets the property, how's it distributed, what's it used for, things of that nature. Hopefully they have a trust, and then you want to even talk about probate at all, and just dictate in the trust what happens to the property. You should get a trust, folks. Not an attorney. I'm not offering legal advice, just sharing my experience and my opinion based on the work that I do. But anyway, back up. So if they do pass away, um, uh, and the property does have a will, or does not have a will, um, or the will doesn't state what happens to the property, then it's automatically vested to the heirs based on North Carolina succession laws. And I have a link or a click that you can go to that talks about what the succession laws are, who gets rights, who gets this or that. So go check it out. Go check it out. I'll put the link in the show notes as well. But again, it states right there on the website: land and houses generally are not administered through the probate process unless the will provides otherwise, or the sale of the assets is needed to pay state debts. So if you have a Medicaid bill or things of that nature, then there are times where you will have to probate the property, so that if you sell it, then it's going to go to any state debt. And Medicaid does count as state debt, folks. So if you are the sole heir, and most closing attorneys are going to need some things, if it hasn't gone through the probate yet, is not titled to you yet. You're going to need some type of documentation to show that you are the heir. That could be a family tree that's developed, or you can even sketch it out and draw it out so it shows them. You can provide the last will and testament if you do have one, if it's available. The death certificate will show that the person has passed away. And if now, again, remember, the state owes funds. The state owes funds to the state, or owes funds. Then the funds proceeds from the sale will need to go to the to those folks who have the rightful claims. Now, let's talk about a person I met again earlier. I'm calling Mr. Joe. That's not his real name, just saving it for changing for privacy purposes. But me and Mr. Joe met in the Superior Clerk's Estates office. I was sitting in on a case so that I could hear people's stories. In the Durham County state office, probates are done one-on-one in the deputy clerk's office, and they allow me to sit in so that I can learn more about people's stories and situations, and offer any services and help that I can provide. So me and Mr. Joe really hit it off after listening to his story. He was in there, actually, his mother, not his mother, but his wife just recently passed away about 2 months ago. And it was a tough situation. He was trying to, deal with that, navigate that. As we continue to have the conversation, found that his mother's house 2 hours away in Salisbury also has inherited him. There may be some Medicaid issues on there. He's trying to just deal to to deal with it. He's hasn't been there in 5 years. He's keeping up utilities and taxes on it this whole time, but he's trying to figure out what to do. So my job is to come with those big old ears and come with a big heart, use my head and use our hands to figure out what we're going to do. And so I did. After speaking to him, and we actually drove down there, looked at the property. I've actually been helping him up here as well, deal with the personal items of his wife and other things up here. But specifically for his mom's house, a few options that I shared with him after evaluating the property space was, one, move into his mother's home. This is the least expensive option. I know he has a home here in Durham, North Carolina, but with a little sprucing up and just to move down there, he may be closer to some family members down there. So that was one option to think about and consider. He could put a little bit of money into it. It's really in good shape. It's a little dated, but 5,000, it depends on 15,000, maybe less, maybe more. Allow the property to be rehabbed and updated and make a strong rental. And then he would have rental income, which would be awesome. It's like support him. He's in his retirement ages, so that would really support him. I thought that would be a cool option and lay down what that would look like based on what he was sharing with me. We also looked over and explored options of fixing it up and selling it. Now, it would need a significant more amount of money to get it ready for the market, but it's an awesome area, awesome neighborhood, and he would be able to sell that. As well as last option was selling it as is to a cash buyer like ourselves. We're a professional home buyer, so I presented him what the numbers would look like if we just took it on from him as is. Yeah, right there. As well as supporting him actually did connect him with a great attorney in the area so that he can negotiate down the Medicaid bill. We'll see how that works out, but everything's negotiable. Medicaid is not in the business of house business, and quite often, it's not always, but often they will write off certain things, and so we'll see there. But regardless, Mr. Joe contemplated options, and he really felt that doing it as is was the most viable option for him. Did not want to move to Salisbury, North Carolina. He was very content where he is now, as well as he didn't want to have the burden of managing and being a landlord from 2 hours away. He also felt that it would be a little risky to put that much funds in, which he did not necessarily have, to fix it up and to get it to possibly resell it. In fact, he was adamant that he did not want to be managing any contractors, especially at his stage in his life. So he decided to go with us, and so we've been able to connect him, give him a fair offer, and we should be closing in about 2 weeks. So that'll be awesome. We're continuing to talk to Medicaid. I'll have to update you to see how that goes. Hopefully it goes great. He's not expecting any funds from this. I did tell him worst case scenario, every single bit of funds here goes to Medicaid, and that could be what they settled for, and you no longer have to deal with them pressuring you. But hopefully we can get that thing all off and down, and all the proceeds will go to him. So we're going to continue to help him out. In fact, we've become pretty good friends. Me and Mr. Joe actually hang out at least once a week, either business related or just hanging out. He has a sweet tooth like me. I thought I had a sweet tooth. Oh my goodness. We went to a dessert spot yesterday. Matter of fact, if you're looking on YouTube, I'll go ahead and show you a picture of him. Let's see. Share my screen, but here he is. Yeah, that's him. Oh, that's my beautiful lady back there. Hey. But yeah, we were. I have a sweet tooth, but my goodness, he ordered a sundae and then was going to order a blizzard right after that. But I was like, I can't hang with you right there, Mr. Joe. I have a sweet tooth, but not that much. Anyways, great guy. But if you're in the North Carolina area, you're trying to explore what options you have for dealing with the property, particularly if you're going through probate, or if you're trying to find solutions for long-term care, or really any solutions to that provide speed and convenience for you. Again, it doesn't have to always be us, but we'd love to help you, point you in the right direction. So check out estateproservice.com, or you can sign up for a free consultation, and we can chat about what options might be there for you. All right, folks, it's Courtney Rollins. Rising tides, it lifts all sails. Peace.